Hello, welcome to the Mystical Institute of Healing Arts. My name is Alicia McNaughton, and I will be your host of today's class, which is going to be on the angels, our personal angels and archangels. So this is a really fun book. That is an encyclopedia of angels by Richard Webster. And so it just goes through each one of them alphabetically. And it gives a lot of the history of writings from like biblical times or, numerology or even the Kabbalah and all the different times where it's been documented that somebody has had an angel sighting. And so it just goes through each one of the names and gives you all the possibilities of how other people have interpreted that particular angel, which is great because then you can have your own experience and then see if it matches any of the experiences that other people have had and then add to it with your own experience. So I love this one. Another one that I love is this one by Dorian Virtue, and this one has a lot of archangels and ascended masters in it. And this is her interpretation, and it was written a while back, so this is out of print. Let me see if I can come up with a date when this one was published. I don't know. Strange, it doesn't say. Usually it's got the date, but that's okay. You could probably get this one used. And I like it because she gives a little bit of her experience and a little bit of the history. Like especially with the Ascended Masters, it gives a little bit of the history of who they were when they were human and walked the earth before they ascended and finish their karmic cycles. And then it gives an invocation statement on how to call them in. And she has a really, light, positive spin on pretty much all of the beings that she works with. So she gives you, it always feels good to read her writings. She has since writing this, had a change of belief system, and she no longer does metaphysics. She's now at a more religious path, which is why a lot of these are out of print. But I learned with them, I think the information is really good. I know that it's all channeled. And when I was learning metaphysics, this is what we had available to us. So this one's more, it doesn't have the invocations, but it has a lot of facts, which is fun. So I made this compilation of some of the more major, well-known archangels that we're going to go over. But I want to talk about that before we get started, because a lot of these archangels, they're here to work with everybody, and they can be in many places at once, and they can even be your personal guide for a long period of time. But it doesn't mean that you're the only person that's going to be bringing through healing work and messages from these beings. So just know that. There are two guardian angels that are specific for you and your vibration. That's part of your own soul group, so to speak, or your own healing team or your own spirit team. Those are a little bit different than the more famous ones usually. Okay, so it's been said that one is silent and just creates a vibration and helps protect and guide without words, and there's usually one that's a little bit more talkative, and I have found that to be true in my own experience as well. And that's just something that has been taught to me, and I've heard a lot of other people say that too. It is possible to have more than two. Sometimes people are just aware of one, and it's also possible to call them in. Okay, so if you're reading about one, what you're doing is you're putting your feelers out there and you're opening that spiritual antenna. You're opening up that spiritual satellite. I joke around and call it the meta antenna, and they can ride in on that vibration really well. Oftentimes when you're reading channeled books like this one, they can come right in because they were channeling with the person who wrote it, so their energy is in the channeled words. So it's easier to connect with them that way because they come in when we ask them to, because we're in the free will zone and all of that, and we need to be able to ask for their help. there are a lot of really fun stories about people who've had experiences with angels where they had what's like a divine intervention. In my younger years, I was a little bit of a wild child, and there was a time where I I was like in a car accident, and it was very late at night. And I swear to you, I don't understand how I survived some of these things. Like my car was spinning around and around and around like this, and I had completely lost control of the wheel. It was very, very scary. And I felt all of a sudden something like help me to straighten out the car and keep going straight. And like a lot of different experiences like that where I know I was divine intervention by my guardian angels. And they're allowed to sort of jump in there and rescue you if it's not your time. If it's not your time, they can intervene in emergency situations. Some people have even said that they've seen them materialize. And for example, I had a flat tire one time in the rain, and I was changing it by myself, and I was having a really rough day. It's just one of those days. And this guy just pulled over to the side of the road, and he's like, "Hey, here, let me help you." And he said, "My name is Michael." And at the time, I had been working with Archangel Michael a lot, and I just felt I had that feeling that I'm being rescued by a guardian angel like right now, by Archangel Michael. It just I don't know if Archangel Michael guided him to me or what, but there are some people who will say that they can materialize in times of like life or death situations, like where they were drowning and they felt like a hand reached into the water and pulled them out. There's a lot of stories like this, but it takes a ton of energy on their part to do that. So it's not something that you should expect or really even like ask for. Like, I mean, if it happens, you know, it's fascinating. It's fascinating stuff, but there are counts of it happening, right? So another way that they can kind of materialize is making themselves a little bit more visible. Okay, and I know it takes more energy for them to do that. And the ways that they do that is they'll show up in this sort of transparent way where you can make out their face a little bit, you can make out their wings, you can see the sparkles of light when they come in. And they're usually when they materialize in that way to show themselves to you, there's a reason. There's a reason. Like they're either trying to get you to believe that this is really happening, that they exist, that you really are clairvoyant is one of the reasons. Or if you if they want to get your attention to guide you in a certain direction, they'll materialize like that. Like when it's time for me to do healing work or writing and there's something I'm supposed to be doing, they'll come in and they'll twinkle at me in the corner. And you know, other times when I was learning how to do healing work, I was in a more traditional setting where I wasn't necessarily directly working with spirit. I was still trying to work in a clinical, holistic setting. They would show up to try to encourage me to branch out, and they would just show up and show me their wings. And like people would have experiences that were a little bit different than had I just been using holistic medicine like herbs and acupressure and things like that. When the angels would come in, they would have an emotional response to it, to their vibration. And you know, that just helped me to realize that this is real and got me to work with them more. So that was one of the reasons why they would do that. Now I don't need them to materialize like that all the time. And I know it takes more energy for me, it takes more energy for them, and there's other ways that I know that they're there. Okay, so we will do a meditation today to call in your guardian angels and some of these archangels. When you're starting out, sometimes it's easier to connect with some of these more well-known archangels, because they're really powerful. They have a really strong vibration. They like connecting with us. They're here to teach us. It's just easier in the beginning to sort of notice that they're there. It's a little bit more subtle, and it's a lot more intimate and vulnerable and emotional when you start connecting with the ones that are part of your particular soul pod. They're going to be working with you in a vulnerable state. They're always there. You have a very personal relationship with them. It's deeper. The connection is much deeper. It's not to say that it can't be deep with some of these more well-known ones, but these more well-known ones are very comforting. They have a very high vibration. They're very dynamic. They come in with a presence. They come in for a reason. They lift the room. You know, they're just, it's just different. It's a different relationship usually, okay? So we'll start by reading from this list here. And we'll start with talking about Archangel Ariel. And this is from this deck here. The Archangel Oracle cards, which I hear is a collector's item now. This is how old I am. I mean, these used to be incredibly common when I first got them all. And I use them like flashcards. This is how I learned about all the different angels. Was I got myself an angel deck. I got myself some angel books. I would read about one and I would experience them for a little while. And some have more of a natural affinity to kind of show up for you than others, even when we're talking about these more well-known ones. And that's usually because you've had some kind of a connection to them in other lifetimes. And they've been working with your soul a little bit more closely too. Some of the ones that I have a really strong connection with are Archangel Aniel, Archangel Ramiel, Archangel Jeremiel, are some of the more major ones for me. So, okay. So we're going to talk about Ariel. Okay, so Ariel's name means lioness or lion of God. And this archangel is associated with the lions and the animals. Ariel is involved with healing and protecting nature. And that includes the animals, fish, and birds, especially the wild ones. Environmentalism, and she's the patron angel of wild animals. And there'll be other books that you can read that will give you more extensive detail on them, but this is just to give you a general idea. Yeah, okay. And then there's Azrael. So right before making this video, we were talking about mediumship. Mediumship is when we're connecting with spirit people or loved ones who are either on the other side of the veil or who haven't crossed over yet. So Azrael is the archangel that would help you with that situation. A lot of people will call Azrael the angel of death, which sounds really scary. I've never really seen the angel of death show up like the Grim Reaper. It's usually a very comforting vibration. Okay, so Azrael's name means whom God helps. Azrael's role is primarily to cross people over to heaven at the time of physical death. Azrael comforts people prior to their physical death, ensures they do not suffer through death, and helps them to assimilate onto the other side. So call upon Azrael for support and comfort, grief counseling, assist newly crossed over souls, compassion, peace, transition, comfort, patron angel of the clergy. So I've done a lot of extensive work crossing over spirit people into the light, or spirit animals into the light. The angels and the archangels are extremely helpful in doing that. They know how to just open up the doorway across the rainbow bridge to carry them up and over, and they can overlight the entire thing. It can be challenging when you're crossing over spirits into the light without archangel assistance, because the energy can pull you in depending on how upset that spirit is, you know, and you have to sort of counsel them through it and talk to them, and sometimes you don't know what to say. So listening to the archangels to give you guidance and wisdom, because they've also been watching over those souls, just like they're watching over you. They know exactly how to help them and nurture them and make them want to come into the light, because sometimes people are scared and they don't really know what's on the other side there. So the angel can come in and show them the way, make it easier and softer for them. And that's a very long conversation that we could have. We could do a whole nother class just on that easily. But we're just getting to know these angels. Okay, so Shamuel is another one that shows up a lot for me. I think it's because I started to call him in a lot. Because when I found out that Archangel Samuel works with the pink ray, which is the love ray. I knew that for somebody who's in a marriage, I've been married for 20 years, you know, that it's really nice to have an angel that you can call on to assist you with your loving relationships with people, you know. So Shamuel's name means he who sees God, he who seeks God. Shamuel is a powerful healer in the angelic hierarchy known as the powers, who protect the world from fearful lower energies. Call upon Shamuel for comfort, protection, intervention in world events. Some of the key words that go along with Shamuel is love, tolerance, and gratitude. Call upon Shamuel if you need to find items or a soulmate or unconditional love and strengthening a relationship. Patron angel of all who love God. And so since I started calling in Shamuel a lot, Shamuel would often just show up and just start showing up, because now I have a relationship with that angel. And there'd be different times where, like, maybe I'd be in an argument with my husband or something, and then I would feel the angel come in, and I go, oh yeah, and I'd relax and say, yeah, please help me with this, and they'd come in and soften everything and help me to see things from a different perspective and clear a lot of the stuff that was going on, you know, with what happens on the earth plane with people and their egos, right? So Archangel Gabriel is one of those super famous ones. Gabriel's name means God is my strength. Gabriel is the angel of child conception, or the process of adopting a child. This angel also helps anyone whose life purpose involves art or communication. Is the defender of the element of water, of the direction of the west. Is also the angel of resurrection, mercy, and peace, and the benefactor of messengers. So key words would be purity, rebirth, creativity, prophecy, purifying your thoughts, body, and emotions, communication and the arts, patron angel of all who work in the field of communication, postal workers, and clergy. Another thing that I've heard about Gabriel is that Gabriel can be very androgynous. Some people think of him as a he, some think of him as a she, or her as a she. They're all a little bit androgynous. Some of them come in, you know, like Archangel Michael is more of a warrior energy. He's going to have more of a masculine vibration. Some of them are more connected to, you know, things that are more feminine and softer. Gabriel is another really good one to call on for abused women who have been through trauma. You know, there's a lot of things that I could say about this, but being a speaker, being a teacher, being a channel, you know, being a reader. So even if you're somebody who's just like, you know, wanting to get into the beauty and the arts and communicate about art history, this is a really good one to call on. It's also the trumpet, so it works with the throat chakra. Okay, Archangel it looks like Haniel, but it's Aniel, like the H is silent. So Aniel's name means glory of God, and Aniel helps to recover lost secrets of natural healing remedies. Aniel also helps us enjoy more grace in our lives. So call upon Aniel to add beauty, harmony, and the company of wonderful friends into your life. She's very connected to the moon energy, the moon cycles, assists with clairvoyance and bringing in grace. And she seems to like to come in with my grandmother. One of my grandmothers who has a very soft, graceful presence, tends to be around when this angel comes in, and she's very feminine. I've also had Archangel Aniel come and bring a feather into my pendulum, and ever since, like, my pendulum is constant. It always feels good every time I pick it up. It feels like it never needs clearing. Sometimes I just hold it just to make me feel better. It's incredible. I was in class and I just watched her just drop the feather right in, and it was just amazing ever since. So she's a really good one, you know, for the new moons, for the full moons, for our own moon cycles, you know, all things goddessy. She's a really goddessy angel. I loved working with Moonstone, Aniel, you know, moon ceremonies. She's a fun one. She's one of my favorites. All right. So this is another one that is particularly connected to me in this lifetime anyways. So Archangel Jeremiel is sometimes called Ramiel. So Jeramel's name means mercy of God. In addition to being an archangel of prophetic visions, Jeremiel helps newly crossed over souls to review their lives. He helps those still living to take an inventory of their life, to be able to make positive adjustments, visions, life review, and psychic dreams. So there's a place that we all go between lives. I think there's a few different places that we go, but when I am helping a spirit cross over, I usually see the same kind of place, and it's the Akashic Records. It's like this library with a platform that you can come and stand on, and then there's like this screen where you get to watch your movie, and the movie of your soul history, the movie of your life. And it's a very loving, very non-judgmental place. You know, growing up, you hear about, you know, Judgment Day, and it sounds really scary. But this, when I've actually been there, there's nothing scary about it. It's a very compassionate spaces held for the people that are up there doing that. And it's almost like you're having your own telepathic. I watch these spirits. It happens really fast for them. Really fast, but like to them it seems like time doesn't exist, and they're downloading a whole bunch of information in a short period of time. Like for us down here watching it, it feels like months of information has gone by in a period of 5 minutes. I can just see it registering with them, and I can watch their spirit shift and change while it's happening. And they're just sort of watching this video, and they're having all these realizations, and they're realizing what it looked like through the eyes of all the other people when they acted a certain way. So if there's a spirit who hasn't gone up there yet and done that, and they're still earthbound, they're not necessarily connected to that kind of wisdom that happens once you're up there and you're on that platform and you're able to like disconnect from all of your resentments and everything else, all of your disappointments and regrets and the pain of having a human ego and being through whatever you've been through and having that be unresolved. If you're a spirit who is too afraid to go up there and do that, that spirit can be very sick and very hard to be around for other people to be around, can be very draining. They're not meant to stay on the earth plane. They will actually attach to, other people and drain their essence, and like get disconnected from ever being able to go up there. And that's why it takes like a shamanic medicine woman or a good medium or a good healer to be able to disconnect it from a person and cross them over. Okay, it's hard to do. I've done a lot of that kind of work myself, and it's some of the heavier lifting, and why I'm bringing this up, because these would be some good angels to call upon if you're ever in a situation like that. Archangel Jeremiel, Archangel Ramiel. So Ramiel is also known as the angel of mercy. And I actually work with Ramiel. I work with it more as Ramiel than Jeremiel, but certain books say that they're the same angel. And I know that I work in the Akashic Records and crossover souls all the time. It's just something that's always been there, because Ramiel's always been there. And reading about Jeremiel, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So I'm not really sure. It's hard. It's all so cryptic, right? But the life review doesn't feel bad. It feels healing. It feels like you finally understand everything that was going on, and then you get to choose how long you want to be up there. I've seen beings up there. They get to finally go to school and like learn about art or learn about all these different things that they want to learn about, and it looks different depending on which soul is up there. Every time I do a reading like that, I get to see a different version of what heaven looks like for them. And they can stay up there for a long period of time, or they can come back down into a body. And sometimes they'll tell me when it's time for them to come back down into a body. and they'll get some last messages out before they choose to reincarnate. It's just interesting. It's interesting. So, anyways, okay, so Jophiel. Jophiel's name means beauty of God. Jophiel helps us to think beautiful thoughts and therefore create, manifest, and attract more beauty into our lives. Illumination, wisdom, and perception. Thoughts of beauty and love. Patron angel of artists. So when I think about Jophiel, I often think about the fairies and the elementals and the nature spirits and, you know, all things springtime, joy, playfulness. Probably a really good angel to have around for a party or a picnic or children. You know, just think of the name. It sounds like joy. Jophiel. Okay. Archangel Metatron. I also work with a lot in energy work, mainly because I was trained to call on him and to learn what he does, not because he was sort of naturally in my life. So you can learn to work with any of them if you decide that you really feel like you're curious about what they have to offer. You're probably meant to if you're drawn to them. So Metatron is known for these sacred geometry shapes, particularly Metatron's cube. Metatron is a fiery, energetic angel who has a special place in his heart for children, especially those who are spiritually gifted, like the indigo kids or the crystal kids or the rainbow kids. So those are the kids that seem very like wise beyond their years and say the most unbelievable things to you, and you're like, how old are you? You know, and they just seem to naturally emanate this really healing energy. The crystal ones in particular have really big eyes, and they'll just talk to you telepathically. Some of them don't speak with words for a really long time because they're telepathic and they don't realize that they need to. They have to kind of teach themselves to. The indigo generation is sometimes a little bit more autistic or just like rebellious or warrior-like. That was my generation. And then the rainbows are sort of a newer one, and they're just, they're almost like these sort of reincarnated, you know, master teachers that are coming back into the planet to raise the vibration. And you know, they still have karma, they still have stuff they have to work out, but they are also here to bring us new information. And it's very frustrating sometimes having a child like this, because it's like, who's the teacher and who's the parent, you know? I mean, they're still kids, they still need to be able to be children, even if they seem like they don't, they do. So if you have one of those kids, they won't necessarily fit into the school systems. The school systems are set up for like more linear thinking. They're very outdated for this new generation of children that are coming in. I had a vision of these kids coming in, and I saw them. They were like pure white light beings, and they just started coming in one after another, and Spirit said, you're going to meet a lot of these children, and they're going to need your help, and they're going to recognize you, and they're going to need your guidance. And I don't have kids, but I'm telling you, I see them all the time, and they usually come through gifted parents, particularly the indigo generation. They'll choose these parents and come through them because these parents are a little bit more open. So if you are somebody who's going to be working with these children, they desperately need somebody to teach them about crystals and teach them about sound healing and teach them about yoga and how to be here and give them some tools. So there is a huge market for that if that's something that you're into, and this would be a really good angel to call upon, Archangel Metatron. Okay, so according to legend, he was originally Enoch from the Bible. After Exodus, Metatron led the children of Israel through the wilderness and into safety. He continues to lead children today, both on earth and in heaven. Unity, education, and truth. He works with children issues, owning your power. He's the patron angel of small children. Metatron uses sacred geometry shapes to clear and align the chakras, also known as Metatron's cube, for clearing psychic debris and toxins from you and your space. Aligning your spirit with divine light and assistance from Oh, and spiritual hope for the future. So Metatron's cube is a trip. Let me find this for you. This picture. So here's a better picture of it. Okay, so when I worked with this, it came into my house and it was more like this, and these areas where there's these white dots here or circles, they became these long like tubes of light that came off of Metatron's cube, and it surrounded the entire property. I was getting ready to teach a class. I was having a bunch of people coming over and we were going to do some channeling work. And so I asked to have the space cleared before they came in. It came into this entire complex. I was living in an apartment building. The entire apartment building, Metatron's cube went on the ground, and then it just shot this light all the way through it and cleared the entire property. I'll never forget it. It blew my mind. I didn't realize that's what Metatron's cube could do. I'm sure it can do more than that, but these are not meant to be, you know, flat like this. They're dimensional, and they have work to do. So very fun. Could say a lot about that. Metatron's cube. Okay. Archangel Michael is one of the first ones that I worked with because I had a lot of fear when I first started getting into embracing my psychic ability, because I was an indigo child and I could see spirits in my place where I grew up. There was a lot of drug addiction and abuse and trauma, and like, I mean, it was gnarly. Nobody was dealing with their stuff. So I'm like wide open and I can see all the energy, and it was terrifying as a kid. I kept trying to run from it and turn it off and tune it out. I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't know what to do with it. Nobody was doing anything about it, you know? So as soon as I started learning about angels, I was like, okay, I need the one that's going to help me deal with that. Like I need to know how to deal with that. And so I would call in Archangel Michael, and he would come in and he would open up his wings behind me, and I felt safe for the first time in my entire life when he would come in. And he would also come in with his sword, and his sword is a blue flame sword, and it clears anything that's not in alignment with divine will. So yeah, he also can like remove stuff that's not supposed to be there and help take it into the light. And help you feel like, even if you're not dealing with that, if you're afraid of something else, like if you have to have a confrontation with somebody or draw a boundary, he'll help you to just work on your inner strength. And he fixes things too. There are all these stories about like people who broke down on the side of the road, and they would call on Archangel Michael, and he would come and fix things for them, like your car breaking down. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of amazing. So Michael's name means he who is like God, or he who looks like God. His chief function is to rid the earth and its inhabitants of toxins associated with fear. Michael gives guidance and direction for people who need help or assistance in their life's purpose or career path, to clarify or make changes. He's a defender of the element of fire, and he likes to stand in the direction of the south. Leader of the archangels, he is the angel of protection, justice, strength. Key words are protection, courage, power, and strength. Archangel Michael gives you protection and encourages you to make life changes that are required for spiritual growth. If your space needs clearing, call upon Archangel Michael. Patron angel of law enforcement and the military. So he's pretty much a badass. Okay, what else do we have here? Okay, this is a really good one. I've called on this one a lot. Archangel Raguel. Not lately, because he really came in and just took care of a lot of the things that I used to call on him for. So if you grew up in a dysfunctional home, or you have relationship issues with people in your family, I had a lot of ancestral karmic cleansing going on. It took me years to deal with it. But when you're in it, you need some help, like even figuring out some of these relationship problems, you know? So he's a really good one to help you with that. So his name means God heals, or God has healed, and based on the Hebrew word Raphael. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong one. Raguel. Raguel's name means friend of God. His chief role in heaven is to oversee all of the other archangels and angels and to ensure that they are working together in a harmonious, orderly fashion, according to divine order and will. If you need help creating harmony and resolving conflicts, call upon Raguel. Oh, there you go. Now you can see it. And how do you call on your angels? You know, I'm calling upon Archangel Raguel to assist me with conversations that I'm having, help me to resolve things, help me to find peace. You know, it's an affirmation, it's an intention. It's really easy to do. You use your own words. You use your own heart. As you're listening to us even read about them, they're probably coming into the space because we're inviting them in. You know, whenever we have all these pictures, which I have over here with a candle of all these different archangels, it's an invitation for them to come in, and they want to come in and help us. It's what, you know, it's part of their job. So this is another one that's a really good one. I have some fun stories about Archangel Raphael. This is the one that I was reading a minute ago. So Raphael's name means God heals, or God has healed, based on the Hebrew word Raphael, which means doctor or healer. Raphael is a powerful healer of physical bodies, both for humans and animals, defender of the element of air, and likes to stand in the east. He is an angel of love, joy, and laughter, custodian of the tree of life, and healing powers. He helps you to heal your mind, thoughts, body, and soul. Those suffering from addictions would benefit from asking Archangel Raphael for assistance, patron angel of all of those in the field of medicine. So, my fun story about him. My husband and I were sanding selenite. Selenite is a crystal. I don't know if I have any handy to show you, but anyways, there was all this crystal dust flying everywhere. And we were new at this. We didn't realize you're supposed to wear a mask when you do something like that. And my husband breathed it all in, like a bunch of it anyways. And it was like crystal dust went into his lungs and he couldn't breathe. And we had to rush him to the emergency room. And it was really scary. You know, we didn't know what to do. And I remembered I had been in some angel classes, and I'm like, I'm going to call on the healer of physical bodies. And I'm in the hospital, and they had him in a wheelchair because he didn't know if he was going to pass out. And I'm just like, oh my God, please help my husband. I'm calling in Archangel Raphael. I'm just putting my hands out there, and I didn't even know what to expect. And he came in like this force, and this energy just shot out of my hands because he was working through me, because I was inviting him to do that. Put my hand over my husband's chest, and my husband was able to catch a breath. And I don't know how this worked, but he was like fine by the time that the doctor got there. It was almost embarrassing because we made such a fuss. Went into the ER, and you know, they had to wheel him in there, and now all of a sudden they couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. He was totally fine. He went home, he was fine. And this was a physical substance that he had breathed into his lungs. This is different than removing an energy blockage. I still don't really completely understand it. It was a very miraculous situation. So when you've got people who like are sick in the hospital, or sick with a virus, or have something going on like that, you know, you don't have to do it by yourself. You can call on these angels and ask them to go and help them. When somebody asks you for Reiki or something, you don't have to sit there and just keep sending Reiki. You can say, I'm going to call on Archangel Raphael to come and be with you. Look for him and let him in. You ask for him too, because when two people are doing it, you can teach them how to receive that blessing and be respondent to it. Because the angel can come, but the person has to be wanting wanting them to work with them as well. It's a two-way street. You're just basically saying, hey, will you call this person? They're not feeling well. If they don't answer the phone, you know what I mean? That it's not going to work very well. But they can hang out and hold space, even if that person isn't open to it. And I've seen that happen. They just stay there and hold space. So what'll happen is, if the person isn't open to spirit, they will be open to the healing energy anyways, and they'll relax into it and think, oh, this feels really good right here. And they won't know what's going on, but that's an invitation too. Okay, so Raziel, as it's funny, I haven't worked with him in a long time, but he came in right before I decided to start teaching this class and started flying around the room. And I'm like, God, I haven't worked with you in a while. But I put the picture out and I was curious, and just my curiosity and my, oh yeah, I wanted to connect with that angel way back when, because every time you teach it, you're reconnecting with the angels, which is why I love to teach it, because then they're with me all week, just like they are for you, right? So he showed up. So Raziel's name means secret of God, because he works so closely with God and he knows all of the secrets of the universe and how it operates. Raziel can help you to understand esoteric material and increase your ability to see, hear, know, and feel the divine guidance. Raziel works with alchemy, divine magic, and manifesting, and is the patron angel of lawmakers and lawyers. So I'm fascinated by the secrets of the universe. I don't know about you, but I really want to know things. I want to know big questions. I've had big questions since I was tiny. I want to understand why everything is happening, how everything works. So I should work with this angel more. I think I'm going to. All right. Sandalphon. So some people say that Sandalphon is another, how do I explain this? So first there was Enoch, and then Enoch went into Sandalphon, became Sandalphon, and then Sandalphon became Metatron. So it's like a different vibration of Metatron, or some people call them twins. But they're very closely connected. I'm not sure who came first. Don't quote me on that, but Sandalphon's name means brother in Greek, and it's a reference to his twin brother, the Archangel Metatron. So the twins are the only archangels in heaven who were originally mortal men. Sandalphon's chief role is to carry human prayers to God so they may be answered, and is the patron angel of music. But sometimes when I'm calling in sacred space, Sandalphon comes in for the earth plane and Metatron comes in up above. And so that's why I feel like that's the vibrational level that they're at least that's the way he shows up for me. I'm open to hear how he shows up for you. And then we have Uriel. So Uriel's name means God of light, God's light, fire of God, because he illuminates situations and gives prophetic information and warnings. Perhaps because of his connections to Noah and the weather elements of thunder and lightning. Uriel is considered an archangel who helps us with natural disaster. Call upon Archangel Uriel to avert such situations or heal and recover in their aftermath. Defender of the element of the earth and likes to be in the direction of north. Angel of nature, visions, and instructions, and the custodian of prophecy. Peace and ministration, spiritual understanding, students with their tests and studies and problem solving. A patron angel of literature and music. Very powerful when Uriel comes in. Doesn't really need to say a lot, but we'll see. I invite him to talk to me more. I'm open to what he has to say, but I normally am just very aware of his presence. He comes in with a very dynamic presence. It's awe-inspiring. They all are in their own way, but this one feels like it's just bigger than this house. It's bigger than this room. It's connected to more big picture world events. To me, like he'd be one to like show up in an emergency situation and be there and be very aware of it, whereas some of them are more dealing with personal stuff with you, you know. Zadkiel I've worked with a great deal because I love the violet flame. So Zadkiel is very connected to Saint Germain and the violet flame, and one of the Chohans of the ray or flame. His name means righteousness of God and can help you to hold mercy and compassion towards yourself and others and let go of judgments and unforgiveness. Help you to forgive yourself or somebody else. You can ask Zadkiel for help. He is the angel of invocation transformation, freedom, benevolence, mercy, and the patron angel of all who forgive. All very beautiful beings, all very benevolent. Usually I call on angels for a Reiki class, or with people who are new, or people who are just wanting to just feel safe, or wanting their spirituality to be a little bit more normal and less esoteric. Because the angels just really make everything feel really peaceful and comforting and supportive. It's very nice. It's really helpful if you are going through some kind of a healing crisis where things have just gotten really out there and you just want something to bring you back to safety, or I don't know, you just can't handle being super out there anymore. Sometimes that'll happen. You'll go up into like a super high dimension and you're like, whoa, this is almost uncomfortable for me. I mean, it feels good, but I'm in a completely unknown zone, and then you go into fear. So it's nice. They will keep things in a vibration that's manageable for you, that's recognizable, very soft and very powerful and very healing. I don't want to limit what they can do either. It's just different than like the star beings that way. They all have their own vibration. So that's what I'll say. All right, we'll come back and do the meditation in a second. We are walking with you, Ashras here. Calling in the violet flame, asking for this high potency, magic initiation to begin while we listen from within. And as we work with the guides and the guardians, we mostly want to fuel our intention for this to be a place of healing, for this to be a place of words of wisdom and of understanding. While we call up for you what needs to be healed, we are mostly inviting the angels to soothe and nourish any misdeeds, any places that are uncomfortable for you, to bring in a bit of spiritual anesthetic and pleasantries to those wounds. So while we make mistakes in the human plane, they know, they listen, they carry it with us. They work with the magic around things to help us to see it from both points of view, many perspectives. Because there is more than just you that they are caring about. So while we undergo a transformation, just remember there is no judgment. There is no need to hold anything back. You can allow them to completely walk with each and every pang or twist or twang that is deep inside, and just allow an awakening to take place in the safety of their wingspan. So while we work with spirit, we're also working with ourselves. All the layers of emotional damage, all of the pain that we have been through, is all being worked with each time we do a meditation. The personality construct is not left out. We allow it to be in the space. Even though we separate from the mind a bit, it is still healing when we push it off into that side room where we go to do our channeled writing. So just anchoring in that frequency, that knowledge, that we're allowed to be feeling the vibration as it goes into that side room where we push off our mind and fill up the energy in the space as you see the ego consciousness lie back and receive. The ego consciousness, the mind, might have a million questions, and the beings that are coming forward are going to hear it telepathically. So you don't need to jump up, you don't need to be right in the room. What comes through will be for that portion of you too. You just have to allow it and expand and open. So we witness a miracle when we grow our roots strong, feeling the earth, receive our feet. We bring our branches down deep. Opening up our root chakra like a lotus flower. Stacking one on top of another as we go from red to orange and yellow and green. Sky blue, indigo blue, violet and white. Taking some nice long deep breaths in. And as you exhale, blow open your chakras and your aura. Visualize it expand out around you, several feet. Fill up with the air that you breathe. White light into each one of the 7 major chakras. Visibly see a corridor out in front of you, made up of white lights. There is a vibration here that keeps out anything negative. There is a powerful secret that energy follows our intention. And that what we are intending is to work with spirit in angelic form only at this time. Calling in the Archangel Raziel first to help us with spiritual understanding, esoteric knowledge, and the meaning of things to guide our work today. To help us to find answers and to play in the high magic of the arts of metaphysics. to build a bridge to the dream world. And this is where the real work is going to be done. As we go into our dream world, we are distancing ourselves from our 3D world and the grip that our personalities have on the day-to-day. And we're allowed to move into the astral plane and really sit and feel the divine realms. Explore them and go on journeys without holding back. And that is the real magic that occurs when you work with such beings on a regular basis. As we do go to these dream worlds, these mystery schools, and we have our powers restored to us there. At times they will wake us up and help us to remember things. And I hope that you write things down, because this one is going to be a dreamer. Karanash abrakatamra naroukotush barasanchinina akataaya. We walk with intention to work with the dream world. Prukuruf marasanchinina akataaya with Raziel. And if you don't remember, he says that it's okay, but we will be there anyways. And if you could envision that place that you go when you dream, just see all of the mystical things right now, filling up your imagination. Off in the distance is a cloud with angelic wings connected to someone, a body. You're not sure which one of these patron angel saints is coming forward for you. Perhaps it's one of the more magical or more personal. It just depends on what you're needing today. It is starting to draw very close to you, and you might want to write down their name or visibly see it there, and then write it. Asking which angel has come forward to work with me today. In what area of my life are you here to reveal more insight into? Are you an angel of the highest light? What do I most need to know today about my work with Spirit? Do you have a message for me? Ask for healing in a particular area of your life and insight from this being. And wait for it. See it in visions and dreams. What guidance they bring through words is one thing. Sometimes you'll see it, or feel it, or just know. Allow them to come in whichever direction they flow naturally to you. Feel yourself drifting off on the cloud with them and go for a ride. And just lay back and just feel it melt. All the tension in your neck and shoulders, all the fears that are stored in different organs, allowing it to just melt away in this cloud energy, brushing away sadness with their wings. Filtering any abandonment issues with knowledge that you are never alone, not here, not now, that they can cradle you and nourish you. Where anyone has left you stagnant or has left you without any power, just feel yourself revive in the light. Letting go of any tension, restoring any nervous tissue, allowing your nerves to settle. Feeling the company of angels is a powerful thing. And they are here with you now. Just visibly see the light pouring in through each one of the 7 chakras, revitalizing and refreshing, revealing to you what is needed, what is sent, what is divinely inspired and coming to you just because you asked. Knowing that it's that simple, really. I open my light to receive guidance from those who are angelic. I feel them lifting the burdens out of my skin, out of my cells, out of my fields, and reuniting my light codes. We welcome the light to replenish you. Fields of wonder and light spiraling in like a fountain through the DNA as the aspiring artist in you starts to return, as the luck is restored, and as the healer is born. Our vision is enlightened. And our spiritual revolution has begun. Blessed be, and so it is. Namaste. Amen.